back then we needed like big and bold colors to kind of grab people and pull them in because who were we? I mean, we were like such a long shot back then. Everybody sells drinks and soda. We had to be special and we had to stand out.
All right, welcome to Restaurantology, the podcast for emerging operators. This is like an exciting one for me because, I don't know, you were emerging when we met, and you started so many years before we met.
Yeah.
And you were emerging when we met, but man, you're not even, I think we would still call SWIG emerging, right? Like it's still emerging because there's so many people that don't know about SWIG.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about SWIG, then you're kind of lame because SWIG is like the coolest thing in the whole industry right now, in my mind.
I'm biased for sure. But
I think you can be biased.
I really think, I've been doing this for almost 15 years now, and the brand is at such a fever pitch that I always hoped it would get to, but just didn't know how.
Yeah, sure.
Than it ever has been. So it's pretty cool to
I like that word fever pitch. I was going to say something else, but it is. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, fever, like it's surreal. It's amazing, unreal. Like it's literally something you dream of.
Yeah, I think every founder dreams for scale and growth, and people on one coast talking about it to the next coast. I mean, that's what you call a household name. And the more you become a household name, it's fun because you're like, holy cow! It started from one little teeny shop in St. George.
Yeah.
And then now it is what it is today. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But so I'm excited to have Nicole Tanner. She is the queen of dirty soda. We talked about that earlier because it says it on the front of Nation's Restaurant News magazine.
Yeah.
And by the way, I loved that picture and the color of the cover and stuff. It was like
it was
dope.
Super fun. And I think I told you when it came out, I've always wanted to be a queen of something. And I'll take.
You were never the queen of Driggs, Idaho?
Yeah. I mean, probably. Back when I was 16, 17, at least I thought I was.
Yeah.
Queen of the farm I was on, queen of, the cheerleading team. I wanted to be queen of my house, with my kids. And they're like, you're lame. Well, you're not lame. They didn't call me lame, but you're not cool.
You're not cool. You're not cool enough to be a queen.
Queen of dirty soda, I'll take.
Yeah. Why not?
I will take it. I will own it. Love it.
So the things that I think people want to hear about SWIG, and when I think about brands that have grown, you always want to hear the impetus or like where it started, right?
Yeah.
But you've done a lot of podcasting. There's a lot of articles out there that talk about how you started this and why you started it. So I don't want to necessarily dig into that because they can go listen and find that. But just so the listeners that are listening to this that don't really know how it started, first and foremost, I think it's funny that I have posted a couple times things about what we're doing with SWIG out to the world, like on LinkedIn or whatever. And people make comments like, oh, well, this was done way before Nicole and way before SWIG and stuff. And it makes me laugh because I'm like, you don't even know the story. So I think the thing that's most important is to say, how did it actually start and why did you start it? Not the whole story of the starting, but how did you start it and why did you start it is probably more important to me.
Yeah, totally. I love Diet Coke with lime. And
who doesn't?
Who doesn't? It's the best drink ever. And I would go to Sonic all of the time to get my drink because they had the good pebble ice. So I like that crushed ice. And the foam cups that keep your drink colder longer. And that
especially where you're hot. Like when it's a hot market, you have to have the foam cup because it'll go warm like that fast.
It'll go warm. Yeah. But I lived in Colorado before that and it was Sonic then.
Yeah.
Like I'd always say, I should own stock in Sonic because I win all the time, like daily. And so would go to Sonic because that was the only option really. Other than that, you're walking into a gas station and I have 5 kids and they were all a lot younger then. And that's dangerous to walk into a gas station.
It cost you $100.
Oh yeah. When you get out. So gas station, and then it was the cups were average, the soda was average, and they didn't have the good ice. But that was your options. And so Sonic was a good option. But a lot of times the wait was long because they're cooking food, prepping food. Sometimes my cup would even smell like onions or be just, the experience was falling flat and it was a slow line. And I felt like a number in their line. I felt like I didn't matter to them.
Sure.
And everybody wants to feel important, right? And known, especially if you're going somewhere on a very regular basis. And so it was about, I think I could do this better. I could provide this service that I would appreciate, getting my drink every day. And I know other people are out there that would do the same thing and want the same thing. And so it's like, I think I can provide an amazing product with a amazing customer service where people feel seen and valued, and then also in a fast moving line. They're in and out, good to go.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too that, most of the businesses I started, even when I was in tech, and I don't know if you know this, but each tech company I created after my first was because I saw a problem for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's dumb. Like, why is it not like this? Or why can't someone come up with X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, well, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And I would create a full business around it. And you did the same thing. And it was as simple as I need convenience, I need speed, and I want to feel like my dollar matters to this business. Yep. And boy, you knocked that out of the park.
Well, and people are like, oh, it's just soda, or, is it a Utah thing? We've heard that a bunch. And I've always known it wasn't. I mean, I was living in Colorado when, was thinking of it, but it is about how you feel in that drive-through line. And there's a lot of copycats now, or competitors is a better word for it. But it's about how they feel coming through that SWIG line. It's the experience. It's the team knowing their name, knowing their drink, asking them about their day. And we take your order person to person, never on a squawk box. It's always out in person, seeing those people where they are in life and making their day better. It should be the best part of their day. The drink is amazing. Yeah,
it's amazing.
But it's how you feel when you come through that line.
And it's the truth. So I'm going to fast forward on something I was going to make a comment, for anyway. And please don't get mad at me when I say this, but I remember when we met the first time, and we can talk about that too, Nicole, but remember you left and I'm like, I just don't get it. Like in my mind, I was like, I just don't get it. Like, why would someone go get in a drive-through line, go through to get a soda? And I'm from Chicago. So originally, if you wanted to get a soda, you went to 7-Eleven and you would go in and pay 70 cents or something like that for a big gulp, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just like, it doesn't make sense. And we did our transaction together, which best day of my life. And next to being married. And then my son, Tobin, worked for SWIG for a little bit while he was in high school. And this was a while after we did our transaction. And I'm still like, it's fun brand and it's super powerful and it's successful. Still don't get it. Mm-hmm. And then Tobin came home one day and I said, so how many people go through the line and just order right off the menu? He goes, well, there's a lot. But he goes, but most people just like to add their own flavor or add another lime or add an orange or add some puree or more cream or he goes, they just kind of customize their own thing. And I'm just like, really? And he goes, yeah, Dad, it's really a customized beverage shop. It's not like just soda. It just hit like me with like a ton of bricks. I'm like, holy cow, that's exactly what this is you get to create your thing. And if we think about the world of customization, you watch people that stand in line at a Starbucks, all they do is they walk up and they want to customize it their way. I'm like, it's no different than that. And I didn't see it. And I'm sorry I didn't see it. It took me like 2 years to see that.
No, that's
But
funny.
It's a customization shop. And I think that when people say it's soda, it's crazy to think how many bases we have. We have sodas, but we have waters and we have teas and sparkling waters and stuff.
Energy drinks.
Drinks. It's just drinks, right?
It's drinks in general, but it's customized drinks.
Yeah.
It's not customized soda. It's customized drinks. And it has been from day one. Like we started with coffee too. We don't anymore. We've realized that's our customers aren't coming for that. So it's customized drinks. We will make it however you want it with light ice, extra flavor, extra cream, like whatever. We'll make it however you want because you are that important to us. We want it to really be your drink, almost to where our customers now, like I used to feel, have like almost stock in their SWIG.
Yeah.
I want it to feel like it's theirs because they can make their drink exactly how they want it. So they'll bypass competitors and they'll come to us because of how they feel in that line with their drink at their SWIG.
Yeah. And you said earlier, a lot of times people say, well, when someone copies you, it's a compliment. And it's like, well, not really. But, there's copycats. And a lot of times there's copycats because they can't get the main one. Like since you and I can't go buy a Starbucks or do a Starbucks, then people come up with other concepts that are similar to Starbucks. And so that's just how the world revolves around, new concepts, new retail concepts, as people kind of say, well, I'm going to take that and do a version of it. The thing that I thought that I have been really impressed with, though, Nicole, is that you've kept it to this is what we're going to be the best at. And we haven't ventured off to all these crazy other things with the brand. And simple is hard. I think keeping things simple is hard. And people sometimes say, well, there's so many things on your menu. You're like, no, it's just you can do any concoction you want. But if you look at people that have tried to copy what you've done or they've kind of ventured off, they're adding, cheeseburgers and corn dogs and all these crazy things to their menu. And now they've just become a fast food joint. I'm so proud of how you have kept it true to, we're just going to be the best customized beverage shop and make it fast, convenient, and we're going to make it consistent so that wherever you go, it's the same. That's, I think, the power of SWIG, isn't it?
It is. And I think it's true. You have to stay true to what built you and what built us, and why it even became, why we even started it, is just that it was the amazing beverage and a superior customer service fashion, and then in a fast moving line. So anything we bring on the menu has to fit in that. If it takes longer than 40 seconds to prep, it won't make the menu. So and if you have too many things on the menu, it takes them too long to pick what they want.
That's right.
So then it slows down your line. So anything that we bring on or anything that we do with SWIG, if it takes away from why it started, then we don't do it.
Well, it's even as much as people have said to me, why don't you guys do cookies like all these other cookie companies and have a bakery? And it's not like, well, more footprint, more people, more complexity, slower lines.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's just, we've really tried hard. And I think you and your team have tried really hard to just keep it simple.
Yeah.
You've accomplished that so far. And I hope that we can continue to do that because the consumer really tells us what they want. But
totally.
I just think it's hard to listen to what your intuition is. And that is, let's just keep this simple and just nail the landing every time on someone's amazing drink.
Well, it's hard when you have a lot of noise around you of people saying you should do this and you should do this. And sometimes even, bringing on different partners that it makes you worry, like, are they going to try to change this? Because it is special, but stay true to what built you and what your customers are. They're coming to us for those 3 reasons. So don't change it. Keep it the same. And as we are now franchising, it's like, okay, they are buying into what we built. Like, let's keep it.
Not what it's going to be, what it is today.
Yeah, don't change it. If it's going good, don't change it.
Well, let's talk about that for a moment, because it was an interesting process when a couple of years ago we started having inbound, interested parties, if you remember.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no names because it was fun to meet them all. They were all great awesome. Humans, individuals, groups, very sophisticated. We had some of the best private equity firms on the East Coast and the West Coast come and meet with us face to face. And they're like, this is so fascinating. And, they wanted to be part of what we were doing. But it was really surprising to me how many of them said, so when are you going to introduce coffee?
Yeah.
Or when are you going to do iced coffee? And we were like, that's not us.
We tried it. We tried it.
But everybody wanted to change what we were. And I thought that was so interesting. Like, why would you change what's working?
You don't.
You don't. And I think that it's important to have everybody hear that the reason why we decided to go with the Larry H. Miller Company is because they saw it.
They saw it. They
Don't you think that's why we went with them? I think that's the conversation.
I tell this story all the time, Andrew, of, it was time for us to kind of go to that next step and bring on some partners that could take us to the next level. We partnered with Savory, which, by the way, was an answer to prayer. Like, it was literally what needed to happen. We had 17 locations back then. It was, 2017 and 2018. And I was spread so thin and was praying for the right partners to come around. I didn't need capital. I needed support. I needed restaurant help. I needed to know how to scale this amazing brand that I'd been so blessed with to the world, but didn't know how to do it. I needed partners that knew how to do that. And I remember when I sat down with you for the first time, you didn't look at your phone once for 2 hours, which was impressive. You were just engaged. Like, you were just like, I wanted to learn more about SWIG. And so I just knew right away that I had found the best partner in 4 Foods Group, now Savory, that was going to help just lift and support. And you took on all the heavy lifting from HR to maintenance to site development, whatever, all of that. And you said to me, Nicole, what is the one thing that you love and you want to get back to now that we're going to take on a lot of this heavy lifting? And I said, I want to go back to the customers and my team, because as you grow, I had to step away from a lot of that and focus on, like, the
administration.
Things. Yeah. So I wanted to go back to what built us and what started us. And that was our customers and our team. So I love that you saw the importance from a founder's role of, like, let's get you back to the roots of it all, whatever you want to do. And that's huge for founders when they partner with somebody.
Well, it is, because I'm a founder, and I feel like when I wake up in the morning, I have to be very excited about what I'm going to go do.
Yes.
And know that I'm really good at it.
Yes.
And for you, if you said, well, I really want to be part of the development of all of these stores, it's like, well, that's not your thing. That's not going to get you excited, is it? And you're like, no. Watching you with the guests and the team, it's like, well, that's where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's your personality. Yeah. That's what built you.
That's what built me. But good for you for noticing every founder has a different path that they like to be in their business. And you asked the question. And for me, it was very easy. So
yeah.
Amazing. One of the best decisions ever with SWIG was partnering with 4 Foods and Savory. It took us to the next level. Same thing with LHM. We were at that next level of growth. And when we sat down, you're like, all right, let's scale you to this certain point. And then it comes to a certain point where we need to take it to the next level with someone else. And so LHM came to the table after we'd met with several private equity groups, and they just didn't quite understand it. You know, they're like, so when do you open? Like noon? And we're like, 7:30 in the morning, and there's a line of cars. And it was like, they were like, oh. Like
people drink soda at 7:30 in the morning? Like, yes, they do.
They were shocked.
Their drink.
They were shocked. And maybe the belief wasn't quite there of like, will this go outside of this heritage market? And we proved to them that it does in Dallas and Oklahoma. And LHM came with just such confidence in who we were as a brand. They just believed in it. They were customers, but I don't think it was just that they were customers. I think they could see the vision.
They saw the vision.
Oh, yeah. And they wanted to be a part of it, and they didn't want to come in and change anything. They just wanted to be a part of the ride and help and support wherever needed. And that's the right kind of partner. You don't want somebody that's going to come in and try to change and fix and whatever. They could see the vision. They loved it. They were excited about it from day one.
It felt really natural too with them. They're not only great people, but they were like, what can we do to support you? What can we do to not get in the way?
Yes.
You know, how can we be helpful? Instead of, we're going to come in and do this. It was more, how can we come in and be supportive to what's working? And honestly, SWIG already was working. I mean, SWIG was, I always tell people it's like a speeding bullet train. Yeah. And if you want to be part of this, you got to run really fast to jump on it, because we're not going to slow down. I mean, it's just not going to slow down. But I will say this, though, the thing about SWIG that has been fun to watch too is people have said several times to me in the investment community and even in the food and beverage industry is like, well, it's a fad. Like, when is it going to end? And I'm like, I don't know. When are you going to stop drinking?
Yeah, right. I mean, beverages.
It'll probably stop as soon as you stop drinking liquids every day.
Yep.
And so as soon as that happens, then it's probably going to be done.
Yeah.
So it's just not a fad. And I think that people think that this is a fad concept. I'm like, well, fads are usually 2 to 4 years. It's been going for 15. It's stronger. It's would you say it's a fever pitch right now of more excitement? And I don't know, there's probably 350 million other people that we could serve drinks to. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's going to be a pretty long horizon for this.
And let me add to that too. As long as you're drinking, wanting a good beverage, it's about being a part of something. Yeah, and I agree with that. Everybody wants to be a part of something cool, fun, trending, whatever. Now we have, over 1,500 team members, and we're now a leadership company. So it's about being a part of the community wherever we land, and these franchisees going, this isn't just like a business for me. This is being a part of something really like revolutionary, but like really cool and really amazing.
Yeah. So let's pivot and talk about that, because I had a note that I wanted to talk to you about culture. So, when we as Savory go and we review all these different companies throughout the nation, it's hard when you look at a company and go, wow, that's really, really cool. That's a great concept. Food's great. And then you meet with their team and you're like, ugh. Like, it doesn't feel great. It's not jiving. The culture seems a little prickly, or the founder's a little prickly because it's got to be only their way and they don't want to listen to any feedback. So it's really easy for us to go, probably not going to scale, because you can't scale around that, right? With you, it was always like this beam of light of everybody was leaning in and the culture was great, even at the 17 stores. And we were able to manage to keep that culture from 17 to 50 plus stores when we did a partnership with LHM. And now from that to where we're at 75 this month, 76 stores this month that will be open.
Yeah,
crazy. 76 stores. I think we'll end the year with 90 plus. But the culture is still there.
Yeah.
I believe it is. Like, I feel like it's
even
still
more
there.
So now.
Probably even more so.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think is, like, how have we been able to do that, or you and the team been able to keep culture when you were emerging early days to now even? What have been the few things that you've done to keep the culture that great?
Well, first off, you're so right. It's a we. It is a we.
It
It is
really
not
is.
I. It is I. I wouldn't be sitting here. It's a we, and we all go to the finish line together. It's a team effort, and I think it's just helping our team to know that we need them. We want them. Be a part of this amazing culture and amazing fit. We want you along this ride with us, and we see great strength in you and talent. And come join us. And so, love, inclusion, being a part of something. We have leaders that start at 16, their first job. They don't even really know how to talk or engage with customers. We show them how to lead out, how to talk with people, how to engage, and how to be a leader in the store. And then before you know it, they are running their own $1 million location at 18 years old because of what they've learned along the way. And that's even getting better as we're growing our leadership program that we have. But it's helping them just to feel a part of something more than just a drink, more than just being a job. It's about being a part of a family. And we're all a team. And you'll see all of us at grand openings. We are running drinks. We're taking orders. We're on the line.
It's fascinating because it's true. I think that there's founders that do things just to look like they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like they show up to be on the picture. But then there's other founders that actually are living it. They're walking the talk. And you for sure walk the talk. The store openings would work just fine without you there.
I know, and I hate that they would. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, but they would. And
No,
they would work without me there, and they would work without all of the team there. But it's crazy that you can go to the store openings. It's like, there's the founder, and she's a multimillionaire, and she does not have to be standing in a line taking your order. But she's doing it because that's what we are. That's who we are. That's how we've started, and that's why our culture is amazing. And I think there's a slew of employees around you, Nicole, that watch that and go, I want to follow that person. That's amazing to be able to be around a founder that has not let it get to her head and to be part of this and still excited at every single store opening. I think, hats off to you.
I don't know any other way. I honestly don't know any other way. And there are team members, we don't even call them employees. There are team members. We're part of the same team. And you'll see all of our executive team, we're going to be on that line too. We're going to be making drinks, doing all that. So it is just who we are. The day that I cannot go in and make a drink and work on the line, I'll be in the grave the next day because
you'll either have broken hips or be in the grave, right?
I know my kids are like, Mom, what are you going to do if someday, you can't go in and do that? I'm like, I don't even know. You'll have to tie me down.
Yeah, it's just part of who you are now.
It's just part of who I am. SWIG is my sixth baby. It really is. So it's a huge part of who I am. I'm so proud of it. I love it. I will protect it. But I want everybody else to buy into that and to know how special this is. When we sat down with you, I think you could tell that it was something very special, even though you're like, it's kind of crazy. I don't quite get it, but you could feel
I felt it. I felt it and I saw it. Yeah. And I'm glad I took the risk because I'm like, we'll see what happens. Because I didn't understand, but what I did see is I saw culture. And one of the other things I will say that I saw with SWIG, that everybody that listening should listen to this and say, what is natural to us, and lean into that, was the natural magnetism around SWIG for female leaders.
Yes.
And my gosh, I would go into these stores. I'm like, this whole place is full of these young, powerful women running this shop, and it's busy.
Yeah.
And it was stressful as hell to me. And I'm like, oh, they're just all smiling and high-fiving and giggling. And oh my God, I feel like I'm going to have a nervous breakdown, and they're having a great time. I was so impressed with that I'm like, that is special. You fast forward now, we have 1,500 members. Of course we have males working for us, but it is predominantly women.
Yeah. 85% female.
Yeah, easily 85%, and maybe more as we grow.
More,
but, our firm was started by Shauna, a female.
Yeah.
Female, leadership is such a strong thing for us because I personally feel like they're some of the strongest and best leaders that you can have out there. But SWIG really has become a magnet for females that want to learn business. They want to be a leader. They want to lead out. And you said you had some kids that worked for you when they were 16 and then running a shop when they were 18. You have people that have been with you for 10 plus years.
10 plus years that are now, they grew into management, and then they became an area director or a regional director, and then an area director. And now they're like director of training. It is very, very cool from my viewpoint to see the growth in them, to see that they have these amazing careers. But it's about them leading out in a company that they love, that is a part of who they are.
It's part of them now too.
It's part of them.
Yeah.
And that's that culture. It is like, come be a part of us. We need you. But when they buy into that and they lead in, and, SWIG is my sixth baby, they kind of feel like it's their baby now too. Yep. And they will protect it and work harder for it than anyone. And getting that culture buy-in is huge. Female led, huge. It's pretty rare out there. It's not something I did intentionally. It's not like we're just it just naturally evolved into that because they saw, my enthusiasm and how I can be a mom and, a businesswoman at the same time. Yep. And you can balance it. I've met with several women's groups of like, how do you do it? And you have to be intentional. I'm sure Shauna's the same way.
Same way, yeah.
You have to spend your time wisely. And when I'm with my team, I'm with my team. When I'm with my family, I'm with I'm very present wherever I'm at. And I can balance it and it's okay. And I think women see that.
Who would you want to give a shout out to on the team that's been with you forever? I would of course say Tina.
Yeah,
Tina has been with you forever.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were doing our due diligence, I guess you'd say, we were more hanging out, seeing if we wanted to do business together. But I remember going down to St. George and walking into the one on Tabernacle, and I met Tina for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was just going, she's a powerful one.
Yep.
Like she is determined. Yep. She's motivated.
Yep.
I can't wait to see what she's going to do. I hope she stays with us.
Yep.
Holy crap. She's been with us the whole time and just continues to hit new benchmarks of success in her own career.
Yep.
And she's just a beaming light of SWIG.
She's been with us now for 11 years.
It's incredible.
And she managed the SWIG number 2. We used to number them back in the day before it got too out of control. So SWIG number 2, she managed it for probably 7 years. And then it was a stretch for her to move up here to Northern Utah.
I remember that.
Yeah, she just felt very comfortable.
Yeah.
But I just kept encouraging her, and so did you, of like, this is your next step and you can do this. It's helping them to feel empowered of like, yes, you can do this. This is the next step. And we've done that with several of them. Lauren, I would say Lauren Webster.
Amazing.
I've known her since she was in 4th grade. She's one of my daughter's friends, but that's not why she's where she's at. She's worked her way up with the care. She cares for this brand
so much.
Oh, she's managed.
You can feel it.
You can feel it. And so she works great. She's our training director. She works so good in that role because she knows it like the back of her hand.
Yep.
There's just so many that Ashley's amazing as well. She's been with us for 8-9 years. Like
crazy.
There's so many that Nicole Dyer, she's been with us since 2013. She opened up store number 4.
It's incredible.
So
I didn't know she was at 4.
Yeah,
That's
she was
incredible.
Bountiful. She opened Bountiful in 2014.
And even the gals Mayan and Abby and all of them have been with us for so long.
So long. And
I just feel like they're the foundation of it too.
They are so the foundation.
Yeah.
It's not me. It is, I'm right there beside them. We are all together. We love it. We breathe it. We drink it. We sleep it. And you have to, in the restaurant industry, you have to really love it.
You do.
I grew up on a dairy farm, and it's like day in, day out. The restaurant industry is the same.
Yeah.
It never sleeps.
Never sleeps. And you can't just say, I'm going to take a break for a month. It's like, no. You have to open tomorrow too. So you do have to find a love for it. I think that it's been powerful to watch Tina and the others, but have them duplicate your love for it, because to really grow a brand, I think culture-wise, to continue to be a leader feeder organization like you are, they have to live it and breathe it and promote it like you do as the founder. And they've done such a good job mimicking you. And so I would say kudos to them all.
They're amazing. And they are doing the hard things, like Mayan, for example, 9 years. She just moved to Dallas because she saw that was kind of like the next stepping place for her to grow that region down there. So they're doing these hard, big moves because of this brand that they love so much, and they're seeing the leadership opportunity for it. So I'm so proud of all of our team and our amazing men leaders as well. Carson is amazing as well. They just, I love them so much. We just went down to a conference down in Vegas, the real estate, commercial real estate, ICSC. And we brought all of our leaders like Tina and Mayan and Carson and Ashley. They all were down there. We were making drinks. We made 700 drinks in an hour. But you know what's cool about that is they have all these amazing leaders, and they're just vibing because that's what we do.
And proud.
So proud.
Yeah.
And Collier's put us on. It was a big, huge screen of just SWIG drinks. It was a commercial. And all these people who had never tried SWIG before, they'd heard about it, but they've never tried it. And they were like, oh, I'm okay. I'm like, no, you got to try this. And our team was like,
and then
oh,
they try it and they'd be like, oh my gosh.
Game changer.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I would drink that.
And they're not even at a store in our line feeling all of that. So it's just fun to see our leadership team come down and make drinks for basically the world of like, hey, this is what SWIG is. And it was so natural for them. They were just like, yeah, this is what we do.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
I have to go back though, because I'm sure people want to know how SWIG, like how did it come, what the name SWIG?
How did
it come to be?
Yeah. So looked at obviously drinks, right? And looked in the thesaurus under the word drink. And the minute that I came to SWIG, it was like, okay, stop. That's it. Yeah. My aunts and uncles have said, do you remember how we used to say SWIG back in the day? I grew up in Idaho and like, hey, can I have a swig of that? Or let's do whatever. Yeah. So when I heard SWIG, I just was like, that's it. Like, can I have a swig of your drink? It just hit. It just felt right.
Yeah. When I saw the name SWIG, I'm like, that's a brilliant name. Because it is. It's like, hey, let me take a swig of that, right? And
it's short, sweet. Like, you don't want the word that's like, it's like 10 words. Yeah.
I grew up, my dad, I had to tell you this real quick because I know that you lost your father and so did I. But my dad, I remember like, well, if I were to call it something that I heard growing up, it would have been a skosh.
Oh,
my dad was always like, here, give me a skosh. And he would do this. And when I heard SWIG, I'm like, the skosh is Nicole's swig.
So it really is. Give me a swig of that.
And skosh is stupid. SWIG is super cool, but that's
it's
what
funny
my dad would
how
always
you
say.
Just things feel right and you just go, and that's it.
Yeah. It is it. Yeah. So let's talk about the branding. So, and I think it's important for founders to hear this, right? Branding is something that's super hard. I've gone through branding updates for my business before, and it's very hard. It's hard because you're like, I like what it is, and everybody knows me as that, and why do we have to change it? But if you look at any brand, like you look at the Taco Bell rebrandings over the last 4 decades, and it's like, wow, if you would have kept that logo that you had 40, 50 years ago, I don't know if you'd be a success, because that is pretty bad.
Totally.
But in the moment, it's like, oh, it's Taco Bell. It's like what it is. Yeah. I think it was SWIG when we approached you and I going, everybody knows this. Everybody loves it. They're already taking pictures with it. It was their thing. Yeah. But we went through this uncomfortable branding change, which I think has turned out to be something where you're like, this is it. I love it. And I'm glad that we did it. Tell me about that process. And was it as hard as I think it was for you?
It was.
It was hard.
It was hard. And I love that you asked this question. I talk about this when I tell the story a lot. In fact, probably every time, because a lot of times founders and entrepreneurs, it's hard when their brands or their business or their baby goes through changes that need to happen. So we've been in business for 7-8 years when we partnered, and everybody knew the SWIG guy. And he was kind of he was who we were, because we wanted that kind of California surfer, like that whole experience as you're coming through the drive-through. And back then we needed like big and bold colors to kind of grab people and pull them in, because who were we? I mean, we were like such a long shot back then. Everybody sells drinks and soda. We had to be special and we had to stand out. So back then, I think it was great. It's who we needed to be. So when we partnered, we were all sitting around that table. I remember it still. It was hard. It was hard. And because I was like, how I said just a few minutes ago that I want everybody to feel like it's their SWIG, like they're coming because it's a part of who they are, the best part of their day. And I was so nervous about if we change the logo and the SWIG guy now goes away, like, will they still come? Yeah. Like, will they still be bought in if it's their SWIG? And it was so scary to me because, listen, it's a business, and I love that it's a business, but it's about my customers and that relationship that I built with them over the last 8 years. And they mean so much to me. And so I was so nervous for that. And you were so good. And so what I say a lot of times is trust in your partners, because entrepreneurs and founders can get in their own way of growth.
Yep.
And if I would have been like, nope, I'm sticking to this. This is what built us. We don't need to change. I would have gotten away. And I look at it now, and that is dang good. It can travel to other states and the world. Like, it's perfect. We did like that watermelon red, color. It's so good. And I'm so glad that I leaned in and was like, yeah, let's try it.
Yeah. And it's a risk for an investor to invest into something that's working.
Right.
And then go, let's change it. It's like, oh my hell. And it wasn't really change. It was, let's refresh it for the next phase of growth. It's really what it was. It was a refresh.
It's a refresh.
And again, I'm glad you said it. A lot of times we stand in the way of our own growth. I've done that before as a founder.
Yeah.
And because I'm a founder, I listen to founders and go, I know where you're at. I know where your head's at. I know you don't want to change. But I've seen the flip side of it of if you do it right, it can really spark growth within the brand and there's more attention put on it. And I think that's what has happened with SWIG ever since we did that. The first little bit, it was like, okay, people getting used to it. But then we saw growth after that because more people took it more serious.
We refined for a good year.
Yeah, we refined
partnership and we refined. We didn't have training. We were so kind of mom pop still, even though we had, a good following and great sales, but we were kind of at the back end was kind of a mess, as you know.
Yeah, most brands are at that stage.
Well, we're just running.
Yeah,
like
you're
literally,
running fast.
we didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah,
and so it was the tipping point for us for sure.
I would say then for founders that are listening, just maybe think about a refresh. I think a refresh for a brand every 7 to 10 years to think about it. And sometimes we call it a whisper sometimes where you just take it and you just whisper a little bit of a change.
Yeah.
And some brands have done whispers out there. I'm like, wow, that was it's subtle, but it's clean and crisp. Yeah. I'm a car guy, as you know, Nicole.
Yeah.
And I even see like some of the car brands like Ferrari and Lamborghini over the years that they've done it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't even imagine if they used this logo still because this one's, but they're just whispers. So I think as a founder, think about just touching it up occasionally because people get kind of used to it and then it becomes old and dilapidated in their minds.
Totally.
And they're thinking, oh, you're the old thing. It's like, no, stay fresh and relevant.
Yes. And we're continually doing that as we speak.
Yeah.
Like we always want to be fresh out there in front. We want to be the one trending, the latest and greatest. We want to stay on top. That's who we are. And if we stayed with the same ideas and not changing, we wouldn't be where we are today, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that even Dylan Roeder, our CMO and partner, he's even looking at the logo now saying, what do we do to give us some more adaptive uses of the logo and other things? Because he's always thinking of, let's just make sure we stay fresh and relevant.
We need to. That's how this will be a forever brand.
Forever.
Yeah.
So what drives you today then as not only a founder, but a part of a growing organization? Sometimes it's hard for a founder when it grows to know their place. Yeah. And I know that, and I've seen it with other founders within Savory and portfolio companies. You take our partners, Kimo and Kalani, with Mobetta's. Great guys. Small little business. Yeah. It's a big business now, and it's growing quickly and in multiple states. Watching them try to figure out their place and how they can continue to be involved and what drives them on a daily basis is maybe a little different for them than it is for you, and it's okay. But what drives you today with SWIG to feel like I'm still excited even though it's growing?
It has been such a ride, right? As when we partnered with For Food Savory, I had 20 different hats on. And so to be able to offload operations, which took a while, it was kind of a slow offload. And just to kind of gradually within a couple years of like, what is my space now? Like, where do and it goes back to what you said of making sure the culture is good in the stores. Culture is everything. I can tell within 5 minutes when I walk into one of our locations if something's off. If it's too quiet, there's not a lot of talking. There's people are nervous or whatever. You can tell right away. And I'm the cheerleader now, so I don't go in and give suggestions really. I just ask them how things are going and how's the new cookie going? Has it been busy today? And then any feedback that I kind of see or feel, I give to the manager or the, area director and just let them kind of go in and make some changes. So culture, I am.
That's what drives you.
That's what drives me. So that's what's going to keep us going.
Yeah, for sure.
And I look for leadership when I'm at store openings or in the stores.
You're like, that person's a leader.
Absolutely, because I see the care. I see how they're taking care of the customers and the team like I would.
Yeah.
And so I look for the care. I look for culture. I look for just being a part of the community with our Save the Cups. Like that's huge, near and dear to my heart too. It's our breast cancer give back. And so
it's amazing.
Sometimes I think Andrew was SWIG made for Save the Cups, honestly. Because,
so do I. I actually do.
It is really changing
authentically
lives.
Good because what we're doing.
It is. I don't know many other foundations giving back in the way that we give back. And so authentically, because it was to what was done for me. We just shared a little section of our Save the Cups give back this year. And we went to 12 different women, giving them checks and very emotional, very tender,
hard.
very hard. It brings back all the feelings. But to be able to be a business owner and a founder and to give back in such an authentic way to our customers and to women fighting such an awful fight. And breast cancer is a killer. It really loves to come back. And we delivered a check to a woman that was dying and on hospice and 37. And she passed away 2 weeks later, just this last time. So it's just to be able, so my focus is a lot of that. But also new product development. I'm on that team. And so any new product that we bring in, I want to taste and smell and all of it to make sure it fits who we are.
It's on part of the brand.
Yeah. So just being present, very present in the office, making sure that our office, we now have this cool office.
It's a very cool office.
It's very cool. And just making sure that the culture is good there as well.
Yeah.
That the team is vibing. It's so different and it keeps evolving my role. As we grow, like our franchisees now coming on, I want to make sure that I value them as a partner, and I'm grateful that they have bought into this brand and to this baby of mine. And so I want to go to every first opening of I'm heading to Wichita, Kansas.
Amazing.
This weekend and on Thursday to be their first store opening. So valuing them as partners, when they win, we win, and being there for our franchisees as they scale. So
important.
It's
the right drives. And I'll tell you that the Save the Cups Foundation, I wish that there could be more authentic, opportunities for every brand to do that, because a lot of times you give money to foundations or to charities and you just don't have no idea where it goes.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to see not only the customers get behind it because they believe in it and they maybe had someone in their family deal with cancer or breast cancer before. So then they support it. And then for those that don't know what the foundation is, you then go give 100% of those dollars that come in. We don't take administration fees and we don't hire people within the foundation. We give 100% of that money to women and their families fighting breast cancer.
Yep.
And we try to lift the burden of those bills.
And just financially in general, the financial burden fighting cancer is huge, and we lift it in whatever way they need that way.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that it can continue to grow. My personal goal in my head is that we can hit $1 million one of these years.
We're close.
Yeah. We're getting,
you mean
really
like in
close.
1 month?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to so bad.
We will be.
We will, for sure.
Because you think of all the franchisees that are going to be building on it. Yep. Like Arkansas opened up in November, just barely passed. But they had people asking all the time about it. So this year we're going to see a big lift.
And when I say that, as far as I want to hit these next levels, I think these next levels are so many more women that we can help.
Yeah.
That's why I just want to hit bigger levels.
Incredible. The more you raise, the more. So we have raised almost $1 million in just 4 months, 4 years. But they customers. They show up.
Yeah. And some of the people that have received checks from you are customers giving, thinking that they're helping someone else. And then they find out that they had breast cancer.
A couple of months later, they have breast cancer.
Crazy.
It's so full circle. It's meant to be that way.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the things that you said here that I was going to point out, but then you just said it yourself, so I'm going to point it out again anyways, is that I think that as a founder in a growing organization, you actually do it exactly right. And that is you're present. Mm-hmm. And I would just say that I haven't seen anybody else as a growing business be as present as you are. A lot of times it's like, well, I have a team, it's growing, I'm kind of obsolete now, I'm just a poster child. And then they kind of go into the darkness. And in my mind, I'm like, no, that is not what you should do. You should be present still. And Nicole, I think the culture is still what it is today because you're present. And when I say present, just being present, you don't have to come in and rule with a stick, give feedback, yell at people.
Being in all the meetings.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's you being present so that they're like, the founder's still involved. She's still here. She still cares about me as an employee at this store.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I think that's why the culture is still so good.
That you know what? That means a lot because it is a weird spot to be in. And we've had many talks where I'm like, okay, I feel like I need to be in that meeting or that meeting. And I finally have let go of that. I know my team's got it. We have a CEO, a COO now, a CMO, a CDO.
All the C's.
All the C's. I'm like, I never knew I could have so many C's. But they are running with it. And I think it's like, let your team have it, take it, and go. And I just have a different seat on the bus. Like I have like a really good seat on the bus. And so I think it's letting your team lead out, giving them the opportunity to do it, and be secure and confident in that, and knowing that you don't have to be as involved as you were. You still are, just by being there. And I love that you can see that. And that means a lot, because there are some moments where I go, I kind of don't know what's going on, but I trust my team.
Yeah. I think that there's so many details that you have to trust your leadership. And if you don't, then you have the wrong leadership. Right. But when you get bigger and bigger, you be present, I think, as a founder is important. I don't even know what's going on in my office half the time. Like, it's it's too big for me too. We have too many brands, too many executive teams, too many stores opening across the country. I can't be everywhere.
No.
But I am present at all times. And I think
your
that
team
that's
knows
important.
You care.
100%,
and that you're there for them.
Because I'm with them.
Anytime.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that founders that are listening, if you're not engaged because you don't know your places, go get engaged. And it doesn't have to be that you have to rule the roost, or you have to control anything, or give feedback, or go into a store and tell everybody what they're doing wrong. That is not your effect. Your effect is, I always tell founders, it's like, you're kind of at the rock star status when you get bigger, but don't act like a rock star where you're too good for people. But when you walk in, you have the influence like a rock star, like, hey, Nicole was here and she talked to me. Like, you have that influence.
I know, and I always go, guys, I'm not that cool.
Yeah. You are pretty cool, if you ask me.
Together. Let's make drinks together. I'm like, don't be scared of me, please.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so another topic that we should cover right now, because if anybody knows me and knows Savory, we are notoriously known for don't franchise, keep it corporate. Just keep things corporate. And now I've been kind of hit up several times for people like, oh, so you're franchising SWIG. Like, what made that change? And we're even with one of our other brands, Houston Hot Chicken, we're franchising that one. We have 120 franchises sold on that one.
I didn't even know that. Congrats.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yay.
And we're opening up stores already. We have franchisees across the country already opening up. So why did we decide to start franchising SWIG? We should talk about, because I think it's important for people to understand what is the impetus of the change that went on with our board and with our team that made us go, we should probably franchise. So I'll start, and then I want to have you tell me what you feel about franchising now. I feel like throughout my career, I've been a franchisee, I've been a master franchisee and area developer, and then I've been also on the corporate side. So I've seen all aspects of it. And I feel like if people are trying to grow for the sake of growth as fast as they can, because they just want to be a great big company fast, I think that there's going to be this natural friction between franchisor, franchisee, because the franchisor has this MO of, we want to just grow fast. We don't really care about you. And the franchisees are going to be like, all we're doing is paying you to go grow in other aspects, but you're not supporting me. So I've always felt like there's that natural friction. So that's why I've been against it. The other reason I've been against it is I believe that if you wake up in the morning as a company, you and I, and we're like, we need to sell everybody that we know a franchise because we need their franchise fee to pay our payroll and to live on. And then we need their royalties for when they open to live on as well. It's a dependency you don't want as a business. So I think it's backwards. I think it's, you need to prove what the business is. You need to have your own cash flow. You need to have your own team. You need to be in the game.
Yeah.
And then when franchisees come, they're like you said earlier, Nicole, they're like, we want to buy into what you've created and what you are today.
Yeah. Not
what it could be, and I'm going to go prove it for you, taking all the risk.
Yeah.
And I think that we've done it exactly right with SWIG. So we had 60 stores or 55 stores, and we were like, maybe we should consider franchising now with people that actually are in the game, meaning they're going to operate the stores. They have other businesses in food and beverage. They're going to do, 10 to 20 to 30 of them over 5 to 7 years. It's a true partnership.
Right.
I think because of that, I felt more comfortable with it. Did you?
Totally. I want to go back in time for when I met with you for the first time.
Yeah.
And
you were thinking about it then.
I met with you only to get advice on would you franchise or not.
Yeah.
It wasn't to partner. I didn't even know really what 4 Foods was.
Yeah.
And so it was, would you franchise or not? Because we had headed down the legal side of that and had spent like $100,000 of going, I guess we have to franchise. This was back in 2015 where there was competitors taking sites that we wanted. And so we're like, I guess we need to franchise because that's what you do. Right. We didn't know who we were yet. We were still trying to figure it out. So it scared me so much. So we put a hard pause on that. And I prayed for the right partner to come around. And the first thing you said to me is, don't franchise. You're not ready for it. It'll eat you alive if you're not ready for it. Cause you'd been there, done that with your brands. And so, great advice. And then we partnered, which was even better. I could have franchised years ago. We could have franchised
easily
before that years ago. But but I valued that culture and this brand too much to do it before it was ready.
Yeah.
Because I wanted these franchisees to have something that was solid, duplicatable, culture was good, all of it. The customers were taken care of, the team, all of it. And you don't have that just because you open a couple stores and have good sales and there's talk about you.
That's
and
right.
Too many brands do that, and they probably won't last because you can't. And that's what you
early.
said.
Yeah, too early,
Nicole,
you're not ready.
It will ruin you.
Yeah.
And so great advice. So then we partnered and we just built, we weren't thinking franchise. So we were just building that strong foundation of who are we? Because you learn that throughout the years through kind of the mistakes that you make along the way. That's how you learn. I don't call them mistakes. They're like learning opportunities. And that's how you learn who you are. And that's how you build that strong base. And then, about store 50, it's like, I think we might be ready for franchising.
Yeah.
And we still need to bring in some key components. And so we built it and we're still continuing to build it out as well. But it's been a big decision for us. We've gone back and forth of like,
yes, no. It's like been back and forth, right? But I think at the time when we decided to, we're a private company, so we don't disclose our revenues. I think that some people, now that we have the FDD out, know our revenues. And it's funny that some people have actually said, there's not a chance. They can't be doing $1 million+ a store. It's like, yes, we do. And we actually have stores doing nearly $2 million. I think it's interesting because we actually, at the time when we decided to go franchise, we were making profit, millions and millions and millions of dollars a year.
Yeah.
Profit.
It
wasn't like, God, if we do this, it would be nice because then we could have money to grow. It was, we don't have to
franchise. In fact, we're a little nervous to do it. We want to just keep that amazing.
Right. So then we decided, okay, we're going to do it. But then who are we going to do it with? Are we going to do it with someone that's going to do one and this is their first foray into restaurants? No. We're going to do it with people that have been in restaurants before, know what they're getting into, and that they're going to be our partners.
So we can support them better. So we have, over 500 signed locations, and we aren't that's a bad word. We aren't supporting 500. We're supporting like 25 groups, 20 to 25
groups for 500 stores.
We did that purposefully so that we can give that support and that love so that their culture is good and their sales are good.
Well, and you're saying that you're going out to their store opening. Like, if you had 500 franchisees, you couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it. And our team
Nobody
couldn't support like that. And so we did it intentionally. Larger groups that were going to be operators that are in the store, on the lines, day in, day out, blood, sweat, and tears. We did it intentionally that way so we can support and love them.
Yeah, and I'm not going to use total examples to talk down about any other brand because I actually want everybody on the planet to succeed.
Of course.
I hope you fail. I don't feel that way. But because you didn't franchise early on, there were then people who were like, well, if I can't franchise a SWIG, I'm just going to go do my own and create my own. And a lot of them went off and opened a store and then just went immediately into franchising.
Yep.
And I think that we've watched now with history that, well, that didn't work out very well for you because you did it the wrong way. You were too dependent on franchise royalties and fees to where you didn't support them and there wasn't a good relationship. And those brands have kind of gone up and they've stalled out or they've started to shrink. That's more the example of why I say, don't do it until you're ready.
Yeah, I think that it's easy to kind of chase the bright, shiny penny or whatever of like, oh yeah, that would be amazing. We could get all these franchisees signed up and that's cash coming in. And it's easy to go that route.
Yeah.
But slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a statement that Sean always says to everybody. He's like, slow and steady will win the race at all times. And I agree with that as well.
And humility. Honestly, stay humble of what built you. Don't go off that path because you're chasing the money.
The SWIG brand, we are deciding as a board too, to put in corporate stores every year along with the franchisees.
Yeah.
Personal opinion, this is mine. I'd love to hear yours because I don't know if I've asked you, but a lot of companies go, we're just going to do all franchise now. We have our base of corporate stores. We're in the game. We're in the trenches with the franchisees, but we're not going to do any more corporate stores. I believe it's so important for our franchisees to see, not that we're competing with them, but that we're in the trenches with them. So I'm not going to go put a store, we are not going to go put a store right in the middle of our franchisee territory just because we have the rights to. We're going to say that is yours and you're our partner there. Yeah. We're going to go in a completely different state where we don't compete at all. And we're going to build this brand nationwide together.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to be adding corporate stores at the same time. Do you feel the same?
Totally. And, we've gone back and forth of like, God, you get all this advice. People are like, oh, just go franchising route or
only franchising.
And we can see that, it's like, because you kind of have to build two teams, right? You need a franchising team, you need a corporate team. So you can see that. And we're trying to figure this out. But I think it goes back to build that strong base of what built you, who you are. And the more you can, instill these like SWIG culture shots into like the nation and the world. And we'll take our own little region. I want our franchisees, kind of like with our team, we give them that ownership of like, this is your store. This is your team, your customers, go conquer the world with this. And that's what I want our franchisees to feel like. This is your SWIG. This is your region. They will work harder, faster, stronger for that because it's theirs. If we came in of like, you know what, because we can, we're going to plop a store right here because we see that it's a lucrative, region. Never. No, because
then you just blew up partnership.
When they win, we win. So when they have that ownership and that region, they will protect it like we would. And so, they need to take their region and go. And we're going to empower them and support them and love them to that. But I would hate it, honestly, if we just built franchising and we kind of left our corporate, because there is magic in that
being in the game.
Being in the game, being in like it's like heaven to me. Walking into a grand opening or into our office, that's family.
Yeah.
So to not grow corporately would be really sad for me. And so I love doing both. I love that we can do both. And it's a fine balance.
It is.
We're kind of scaling a little bit down in corporate so we can really, support our franchisees who have invested into SWIG. It's finding that balance.
Yeah.
And we're not stuck on a certain way. If we feel like it needs to change, we'll kind of change it.
Yeah, sure we will. I think that our goal is to do 20, 25 a year though, right?
Yeah.
About 20, 25 corporate stores a year.
Yeah.
Probably get to 50 to 75 franchise stores this next year.
Which is like mind-blowing, right?
Mind-blowing, right?
Because we're at 70-ish now and 14, 15 years. And it's like, wait, did you just say that's in a year?
Yeah.
But that's the power of franchising.
15 years later too. And I want people to hear that slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady.
We didn't do this after 2 years or 4 years or 7 years. It's like, this has been a marathon getting to the point where like, I think we're ready. And
that's
the thing is, we're still like, we think we're ready.
Yeah. It's like, we've been like, okay, and you're a race car driver, right? So it's like, okay, we're hitting the gas. And now we've really got to, we're accelerating.
Yeah, we're accelerating.
But we're ready for it.
Yeah.
We've prepared. We're ready for it.
No,
we have
we're
the team. We've built an amazing, franchise team now. I mean, and we've had some lessons and some bumps along the way, but that's how you learn.
Yeah.
They're not mistakes. It is.
Yeah, it's fun too, because now the brand is being talked about in many circles within the industry too. We have just recruited someone from Dutch Brothers that has managed their construction for all these years, built 180 Dutch Bros a year.
He knows scale.
He's now going to be our chief development officer. He knows scale. We're able to recruit some of the best in the industry now as part of SWIG, because I think people see it. The thing that's really cool too, Nicole, is it is a new segment. Whenever you talk to anybody, they're like, that's a new segment.
Right.
And I'm going to ask you one last question about the SWIG story, and then I have a couple last questions, and we're going to be done today. But this whole dirty soda thing, people are like, "Well, it's a new segment, but soda's not a new segment." I'm like, I know, but dirty sodas are. I'm just going to kind of put the kibosh on the whole discussion around dirty soda. Dirty soda was started at a SWIG in St. George, Utah,
the original,
by you and your team.
Yeah,
I think it's so funny that people want to compete on, well, that existed, and no one called it a dirty soda before you did.
No.
But you have to tell the listeners too how it happened, because it's kind of funny, because it's not like you started and said, I'm going to call them dirty soda.
No.
It was from the customers.
Yeah, it really was. And I think that's why it's so authentically good, so amazing, and it's ours. It wasn't something I was trying to be or whatever. So we had just probably 4 or 5 flavor shots back in the day. It was pretty simple because I didn't know what customers were going to want. And so, but one of them was coconut. And we had a doctor's office that would come and they would get coconut Dr. Peppers all the time. And within the first month, they came and they're like, do you know that we call these dirty Dr. Peppers? And I'm like, that is so cool. So I'm like, yeah, I love that. So then we just started, okay, that's a term that we're going to use. And we put it on our menu, and we were selling dirty Dr. Peppers literally from the first year that we were going. So 2010.
So thank you to that little office,
right,
for sharing their kind of whimsical idea, and it created it.
Our customers are really the masterminds behind it
They
as well. They're why we have a business and a brand. But Dirty Soda, Dirty Dr. Pepper's is where it started. Started down in St. George.
So then you trademark it.
So,
you get the trademark.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So we saw competitors that were using Dirty Soda as well. Like they were copying us, which hurts at first, like to a T.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? It's a flattery. It's great. And I don't blame them. And so, but they were copying us and they were using like different coconuts, and so they weren't great. Like even Maverick, I'll give Maverick a shout out because they had it all across their gas tanks. Make your soda dirty, dirty Dr. Pepper, and their coconut was not good. And so if people hadn't tried a dirty soda at SWIG and they tried one at Maverick or another place that wasn't good, they're not going to come to SWIG and get a dirty soda.
No, exactly. I tried that; it was gross.
So we were like, this is our term. We're going to protect it, and so we did a trademark, a Utah trademark, back in 2015, and then we took it as a national. It was 2014 and then nationally 2015 to protect that name. Like it felt like it was ours. It was a SWIG name, and it was. And so then everybody, including Maverick, took it off. They respected it. They respected the cease and desist, except one.
Yeah, it's except for one. But it's crazy because you went through that process of defending yourself, had the trademark, and then there was a clerical error about a year ago.
Yes.
Clerical error on a certain law firm that made it lapse.
Yeah.
And now we've been working with the USPTO office on getting that back.
Yeah.
And now that we've been trying to get it back, everyone's using dirty sodas. Everyone, because it lapsed.
National brands.
So now we have to just chalk it up to, now we're fully flattered that you created it and everyone's using it.
So flattered.
But the claim to fame of dirty sodas is Nicole Tanner's. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it.
The queen.
The queen of dirty sodas, but it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there.
I mean, I've always wanted to be a queen.
Okay, so then if you're going to SWIG, what is your drink so everybody knows?
Oh man. Okay. So I went for Diet Coke with lime, right? Yep. And then I started adding the coconut. So it was dirty. And dirty for us really is like any flavor shot, cream shot, whatever. But if you come to SWIG and you get a dirty Dr. Pepper, it's going to be Dr. Pepper with coconut flavoring, just so everybody knows.
Okay.
But so I get a Diet Coke with lime and then add coconut. And that was called a Big Al back in the day. We had names for our drinks. We've evolved, more into that. But then when we started Save the Cups, Dylan was like, okay, we need your drink on the menu. So for the month of October, I don't need a drink named after me, Andrew. I will be the queen of dirty soda, but I don't need a drink named after me. But so my drink was a Diet Coke with sugar-free coconut flavoring, fresh lime, and coconut cream. I added coconut cream to my drink several years ago, and I was like, boom, game changer. It was so good. Amazing. So that's my drink that I've been getting for years. And so we named it The Founder.
The Founder. So everybody's got to go get the Founder now.
It's a top 5
super
drink.
Good. It is. It's so super good, actually. It's not like, well, it's my drink. You're not going to really like it. It's just for me. It's actually really, really
I drink
good.
it every day. You think I'd try something different? I don't.
That was my next question is if you're not drinking the Founder and you're not drinking something from SWIG, what are you drinking?
Water.
It's water. I knew it. The funny thing is I see you with your tumbler and I'm like, I wonder what she's. It's just water.
It's always just water. My tumbler, I have probably 20 different SWIG tumblers and they only get water. Is that crazy? I'm kind of weird like that. When I drink my soda, it's in my styrofoam cups or,
And people would think that all you do is just drink fluids all day. But if you're eating food, what is your favorite food to go for?
I love a good chips and salsa. I love a good Mexican food. Like, because Diet Coke pairs
really well with chips and salsa. It does.
So I love a good Mexican food. I went to Israel 2 years ago and I fell in love with Mediterranean food.
It's amazing.
Just fresh, healthy.
You're a kava girl now. Have you ever had kava yet?
I haven't had kava yet.
Oh my gosh.
So our next trip, kava.
Go get kava.
So I like those two food groups.
Okay. Because they pair well with...
They pair well with a good soda.
Okay, last question is there anything that you would do different? If you look back at the last 15 years of SWIG, is there anything you do different or are you where you want to be with the brand and it's better than you thought? Or I wish we would have done this because maybe it would be better.
I never like to look back and go, oh, if only. I think I am always kind of forward thinking and a glass half full type of a gal.
Yes, you are.
I think that's just who I am. But I honestly, I'm full of gratitude for the journey, because it's a journey. I hiked the Grand Canyon. I've hiked it twice, and I hiked it recently, like 3 years ago. And you start at the top I started in the South Rim and then went to the north. And it was a journey. It was hard and long. And there's parts where it's easier and parts where it's excruciatingly hard. But at the top, you look over the Grand Canyon and you go, wow, look at where I came from. And I kind of feel like I'm definitely not there, with the SWIG journey at the end, but I have a pretty good view of where we've come from. I wouldn't change any of it. I wouldn't, because in the journey has been what I've learned and what I felt. And there's been hard, and there's been, the best of the best. There's been tiresome of like, if I do like going into a third grand opening day where it's free and I'm tired and I realize my age and my body aches, but I still love it because I'm with my team and my customers and my SWIG. I really don't think I'd change anything. I love the partners. I've been super intentional, as you know, about partnership. It's done with a lot of prayer and thought and not hastily. Like, it is like those partnerships bringing on were really super intentional. So I love it. I love our leaders. They are why we're doing what we're doing. I love our customers so much. I get so excited about where we're going. It seems very surreal. I literally like, I can't believe this is real. I wouldn't change anything, because in life you have all the ups and downs, and that's the journey.
That's part of it.
That's part of it. Yeah. So it's fun sitting here with you. I feel like, we're talking with friends. We've known each other for 6 years now, and we've been through a lot with SWIG and the journey and lots of ups and downs, but that's part of it. It's part of the ride.
Yeah. I would say in closing that, I probably speak for Shauna and the team very easily, that we've loved the journey. We would change nothing about it. We learned a lot. We made mistakes along the way that we learned from too, and we've pivoted, but we've absolutely loved being part of the brand, being partners with you. You've been an incredible founder. The team at SWIG, Chase, Dylan, and the rest of our team that we've created, love them all. Phenomenal. They've been unbelievably successful because of who they are. Humble, amazing, people, hardworking. We never stop. Friendship. I want to add that to it. So like you and Shauna, dear friends, the friendship that you going through, working in the trenches, trying to figure out where are we going to wrap this line that never stops at these free days, and traffic, cops coming and like trying to shut us down, neighbors hating us because our line, like, that's fun. And that's where the friendship, that's where those deep roots come from. And I'm grateful for you and Savory and For Foods and my team, and what a ride. And let's keep it going. Like, as good as the last 14, 15 years have been. I'm so excited about next. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I mean, SWIG literally will dot the United States. I think in the next 5 to 7 years, there'll be 500 to 600 stores across America. And so everybody will be trying your founder. So, right. Yes. Lucky to everybody out there. Yeah. Thanks for joining today. Appreciate you. Thanks, Sandra.